Thanks. Yeah, I figured I started training. I usually switch it up, but
You ever you ever give your friends a compliment and you kind of go out your way to make it sound uncomfortable for them?
no,
I
no.
do
But I've done the opposite. I
sometimes.
I gave a guy a compliment once, and I was like, tried to make it uncomfortable or not uncomfortable. I'm like, you've been working out, you looking good, and then I'm like,
Yeah, I do that sometimes where I'm like, "Hey, man, like something different about you. You been working out?" It's like, yeah, from time to time, like, yeah, it shows, man. You got some nice broad shoulders. Like, you got some nice definition,
and then
man.
you get the
Like,
awkward life, the
no,
awkward
I'll keep
laughs.
going with it. I'm like, man, like, I know, like when you hug your girlfriend, she probably feels very secure. Like I can only imagine what it feels like to just be embraced by you. Like you are really. I'll just keep going.
And they're just like, okay, okay, all right, shut up, dude.
No, no. Let me keep on going. So there's other times where like I'll be riding with friends, or sometimes like I will ride with like my cousin. Um, and I'll ride shotgun and they're driving, and they'll maybe the radio will play like some like R&B music, like a slow jam or something. And I'll just put my hand on their thigh and I'll just look at them.
And they're like,
That usually leads to confrontation. That's usually when I get hit. But
yeah.
I don't
You
know. I
better
think it's
watch out.
funny.
Maybe you'll have a friend one day, and you'll do that to them, and then they'll be like, they'll take it seriously and put their hand on your thigh.
Well, yeah, because now, like, I mean, it's acceptable and people are becoming more comfortable coming out and being honest with their
Yeah, that's true.
sexuality. So maybe you're right. Maybe I should, like, I mean, I don't really have friends living down here. So yeah, I'll probably never run into that issue.
Yeah. So, been a rough week for me. Monday, my dog died. So one of my dogs died. Yeah, it was pretty
Oh,
tough. Um,
the one that makes noises when he's in the room.
no, no, he's still alive. He's actually still. He's like his back legs really don't work, and he's becoming continent, which is another problem. Which
What's that?
you know means he can't control his bladder.
Oh,
Incontinent.
okay, okay.
So he just pees all over the house. He has no control over it. But it's like, well, you take them. They're your responsibility. You don't throw them out or anything. If they start doing that, we still love them and everything. It's just tough to keep up. I know this is our other dog. She's like a golden retriever lab mix. Um, she's been downhill for a while, and we were actually going to take her in on Monday to get her put down because she woke up that morning and she was just not in a good place. And then I came down, told work I was gonna go leave half day and did some work, and then I went back upstairs and she had just passed away on her own. So my daughter was home too, so she had a pretty good cry and everything. And yeah, I mean we're kind of over the part where we're, how like when you lose someone you get in those spouts where you bawl and then you just kind of like don't. We got over that. Um, I mean, we've gotten over that, so it is what it is now. But yeah, it was kind of a crappy start to the new year. But
Yeah, I mean, dogs are family. I've been put in a position where I was told, yeah, your dog is going to die. Your dog is suffering right now. Are you going to give us permission to put her down? Like, how do you respond to that? You know?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it didn't really hit me that until I started typing out the note that we were gonna go have her put down on my to work to I was going to take the afternoon off, and then I just sat and bawled for a bit, and but yeah, and then she died, and yeah, it was
My dog had actually beat the odds and bounced back. I just tossed them my wallet and they took what they wanted from it.
hmm,
And they resuscitated her and maybe after like maybe after like 6 weeks she she was looking better and better, and now like you can never tell that her organs are dissolved.
hmm,
So
wow,
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I don't mean for this to be a therapy session, but
yeah,
that's a huge reason, like, psychologically, like, I don't really have a large, like, I don't have a lot of friends. I don't interact with a lot of family. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's harder for me to deal with loss. Maybe not, but I feel like when it hits me, it's devastating, and I don't think I'm built for it. I'm sure that if I experience it enough and put myself in a position where it's routine, I'll be hardened. But yeah, I'm not built for loss, man. I know. I'm just not. I don't do well at funerals, so I try to avoid funerals because I'm the first one breaking down. The first one. So
yeah, yeah. It's if you don't have anything to lose, you can't lose anything.
that's my
Be able to,
philosophy, man. I live most of my life out of sight, out of mind.
yeah,
Like in the days where I was like just broke, 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 like just a poor student putting myself through school, night school or whatever, or college or whatever. Like I would get bills, I wouldn't even open them. I just throw them away. Like why am I going to open it? Like I know I can't pay for it, so why am I just going to add that additional stress? So like if I know that someone's going to break up with me and they just left a voicemail, I just delete the voicemail. Like I don't, I literally don't put myself through things that I know are not going to be in my best interest. So I just ignore it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some therapy value probably in going to a funeral or whatever, but yeah, we had um, this has been this is a pretty bad loss, but it was also, I mean, for her, it was she lived, a good life, and she, she was she was old and frail, and it was a good thing, I think, that she finally, like, she was basically starving to death herself to death. She wouldn't eat anything,
Mm,
so I couldn't imagine it being comfortable. She didn't like she wasn't whining. She didn't seem like she was in pain. She just seemed, tired all the time. So, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be worried about things coming in threes though. Like last time, when I think it was my grandpa died, then my other grandpa and my great grandma all within the course of a year died. Last
yeah.
time something happened, but yeah, and then my brother-in-law killed himself a few years ago, and then, but I haven't had to deal with too much, I guess, with that. My parents got COVID, so I've been calling them to make sure they're all good this week. But
Yeah, I feel like
on top of it,
there's a new round of people. I mean, like now I actually know people that have COVID.
yeah,
Before, because like I purposely like disconnect from people. Like someone that I'm fairly close to, like he just caught it. So
yeah,
I thought I
yeah,
had it a month ago, and I was disappointed that I didn't because I was complaining about it. I feel like I
yeah,
wanted to be validated, but no, I didn't have it.
yeah. My parents caught it, and my niece, who's had it before, got it again. She's vaxxed too, so I guess it wasn't very good for her. I've started getting a kind of a tickle in my throat yesterday, and took some took some NyQuil last night, and that's why I was groggy waking up this morning. It's slow, so that was why I was
Uh,
late. But I'm hoping I'm not getting sick, but with it, who knows? who knows? I went over and shoveled their yard. I didn't go in and say hi, but maybe just being in the mere presence of people with COVID, I maybe who knows? Maybe I got it. I don't know, but trying to. I'm not really sick. I just have like a. I just wrap it up to the fact that it's like -25 and dry as hell out um, here. So in any other year, so I got to figure out if I'm going to go to the gym and do my run tonight. Didn't go last night to see if it got worse today, and it didn't. It's actually gotten better. So I
I've
guess I got to
been
run on my treadmill here for it. But
I've been struggling, dude. Like I've been struggling. Like yesterday, like I burnt out yesterday. Like towards like the end of the workday. Like you ever get to a point where you literally can't do any more like mental processing? Like you just can't, even if you wanted to. Like, well, maybe you haven't been there. It's happened to
yeah,
me
yeah,
several
yeah, I have.
times. Um, it happened to me yesterday, and I was like, F it. Like, I got my I got my music system, threw it in the wagon, I went to the beach, and I was playing the Top Gun soundtrack, like the original Top Gun,
Hmm.
right? And I was just trying to close my eyes and just try to like fall asleep to that. And I just came to like not really a revelation, but I'm exhausted from solving problems every single day. And so like probably like most programmers, when the business day is over with, like especially within the past 6 months, I don't want to look at a computer monitor. Like I haven't looked at my email, like my personal email, in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, and so I don't know. I just feel like I'm burning out when I'm running after like half a mile. I'm like, is this when is this going to be over? Do I really need to complete like a minimum of 2 miles? You know, a mile is good enough. Like Scott, you could just do a mile. There's nothing wrong with that. Obese people, they're not running at all. So surely you could feel a sense of accomplishment if you just do 1 mile. It's okay. Like I started having that battle in my mind,
Yeah.
and
Well, it might be fine to. I mean, maybe it's a good thing to only do it when you feel. Uh, it's. I mean, it's hard to say.
nah.
There was. I don't know if I would catch the point of it or not, but there is a book by Nassim. I think it's Nassim Taleb, the randomness guy, and he talks about writing, and he says he only writes. He's written a bunch of books, but he only writes when he actually wants to write. Um, but he like whatever dude's written a ton of books because otherwise it forces yourself to do things that like to fill your books with drab and stuff. Maybe I mean maybe there is something to be said for taking the inspiration as it comes, but I don't know. Maybe too if you had a specific. Do you have a specific goal in mind or like a target in mind? Because that could change things. Because if it's not a, if you're just running for the sake of running, it might be like
The fuzzy goal is I want to participate in a half marathon in in either Asia, more likely in Asia, but I'm willing to entertain Africa, maybe South America. South America, like it just rubs me the wrong way in regards to like the amount of violence across the continent. But yeah, I want to do a half marathon in another country
hmm,
or another, well, continent, whatever.
gotcha.
And then like it's still therapeutic, right? And so I feel like, especially as we go through life, we may deal with experiences that may not be productive if you just sit at home alone. So like at least when you're exercising, you're naturally uh I don't know, triggering like the pharmacy in your mind to produce more chemicals that are beneficial
Yeah.
to help you get through whatever you're trying to get through. And so I try to maintain that. Like one of the most, and thankfully it was early on in my career, was I think it was Stephen Covey's Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
Hmm.
And like I think that book is dead on. Like I think most mammals in general are creatures of habit. And I think that if you can establish the right habit, as in it being positive for you, you're gonna be pretty good. And then like Darren Hardy, whatever his name is, of the compound effect, like you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and sure enough, like you're just in a really good place, I believe, 36 months from now of just
Yeah.
being consistent with it. So that's the intent, that's the motivation. It's just there's days or weeks where like it's just very contrary, and I struggle to push through it. And I know I do way more than most people, but
Yeah.
it's still like
I mean, you might be overdoing it though if you're not
yeah,
building up over time. Did
yeah,
I mean, something you could do is try to say is to limit yourself to a mile, but try to change your just for the short term, try to change your goal a little bit and say what's the fastest mile you could get to, um,
yeah, yeah. I
just as a
considered that.
challenge. Yeah, a personal challenge or whatever.
It's weird because like I remember I usually walk back home. I usually run in a straight line, and then depending on how far I got, because sometimes I'll run pretty far, like 4 miles. I'm like, crap, now I got to walk all the way back home. I was just dwelling on like there's some things in life, no matter how many times you do it, you never ever regret it, even if you
Mhm.
don't want to do it. And then there's other things in life where you want to do it, but then you regret it after you do it, right? And so the two parallels are exercise and sleeping or sex, right? And so like sometimes with sex, you like, damn, I shouldn't have done that, right? Um, but yeah, like with working out, it's weird how you you have your reservations about the amount of effort and the toll it's going to take and how uncomfortable it is, but never ever have I ever regretted it after I finished, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, there's definitely times during runs where I look, well, especially on the treadmill, it's the worst. Like you look down, it's like, oh crap, I have to sit here for another 5-10 minutes. Like when I'm running outside, it's totally different affair. It's like, oh, well, I get to run past these houses and look around in nature and see things and it's warm out and whatever. But running on treadmill, man, 10 minutes more of doing this, it's like
I feel
might
like
as
a
well be an
hamster.
hour. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to 3 months from now when all the snow melts and it's warm enough to get back out on the street running. But
And I'm ready for a hackathon, man. Like the last hackathon, you remember hackathons? Like
yeah.
people used to get together and maybe there was a company or organization that would sponsor it and it would be under like a certain agenda. Um, I missed that because I wouldn't work on their problem. I would work on mine. I would just use that Friday, Saturday, Sunday to just work on beach delivery, and uh, and I would have food. So I'll pay like my $30 to participate, and I would just eat food, and I would like increase my professional network, meeting people, and I could just focus on my project. And I feel like I kind of need that right now. Like just being, I stopped going to Starbucks and working because I was getting fat. And like so, but programming here, like it's taking its toll. I don't know. I'm just complaining, but like I don't know what successful entrepreneurs do to push through it. Like especially when they have relationships and they have obligations. Like I don't understand how they push through that for like 5, 7 years, or maybe. They all are like divorced and have pretty bad relationships.
Yeah, I mean, they might focus a little bit more on getting the shorter feedback cycle loops going too. Like this has been a long slog, really, if you think about it. You've been working on the tech, but from the actual business standpoint, you haven't, you
Hit a
didn't really
milestone.
go, yeah, you didn't really go minimal viable. Like I bet you that given a solid week, I could probably put together an MVP of everything that you've done to this point.
I don't
Um,
think so.
I could because there's really, if you think about it, I mean, there's really not that. I mean, like there's a lot. If you built everything in a monolith, I'm, you know, there you could have probably gotten a lot farther by now. Just one solution and broke it up into services later. Uh,
But it's obviously I'll be in denial because
yeah.
the human part of me is like I spent like more than 2.5 years working on this. So by default, if anybody like attacks my baby, I'm going no, no, I'm going to defend it just by
Yeah.
default, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not
But
going to
it's
be.
not one solution though, right? You
Yeah.
have a customer solution in all the cases that revolve around the customer experience for them deciding that they want to order something, them observing a catalog, them selecting something, them canceling it, communications. I understand you say MVP. I get it. And then there's the courier solution. So it's very minimum too. And then there's the administrator, but administrator doesn't have to be the MVP, right? But there's two solutions that are client, right? Um,
Yeah. But I mean, I'd potentially.
yeah,
So like,
more.
so getting if I mean, I'd have to assume that I'd start with like a bank account or something because there's some stuff with like Stripe and things that just may take both time to get in there. But um,
Azure.
well, that like if you have a single deployed unit though, it takes an hour to get out there. It's not a day maybe at most to get all the certificates and stuff in place.
I didn't have any Azure experience.
Well, yeah, but if you're just using the dumbest version of Azure, like if you just go on and pop open the thing and say, here's a code I made. It takes 5 minutes to set up a website.
Okay, if you're just talking about MVP and not caring about
Yeah,
Azure, yeah, well,
that's what I'm saying is that
yeah,
if you cut out all of the stuff that you didn't need and get it down to bare brass tacks, um, I mean, a person could probably get out. But that this is things like how do you have them make payments at the actual place? What's the way to do that? Well, maybe the solution here wasn't to give the person a card or try to transfer balance onto a card. Another option would have been to just have a credit card ready at my disposal, and then when the order comes in, you make the call to the place and just say, "Here's my card." Or you're setting up relationships to begin with, but you're getting those feedback cycles and knowing, and building the relationships with the actual businesses and stuff. I think that's what these entrepreneurs do. They build that are successful. They build the tech after they know the process, um, or they build the minimal tech to help them, to prove out the hard parts of it, which might be what
yeah.
really in this scenario, it's the logistics of getting something from A to B.
So what I've learned is the the food part is extremely hard, and so I'm not even like entertaining that right now. That's not even a priority, which is weird because that was the priority. That was
Hmm.
the only thing I wasn't even considering rental equipment. It was just food, right? And I learned like, holy crap, like it's it's very, very challenging to sync with all these point of sale systems. It's very challenging to take advantage of a solution that has already considered all of these point of sale systems and they wanted, like, for example, Olo, they wanted $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
A month, right? And so that's when I was like, you know what? And I think I shared this with you. There's only one food item, and that's going to be like a hot chicken dinner from this specific grocery store, and that's it. You can't get anything wrong because there's only one offering. But even that is still like it's on the shelf. Like I could still do it, but right now it's just phone chargers, canopies, umbrellas, music systems for Bluetooth and etc. So
Yeah.
to
Which,
your point, the MVP obviously could have been done a lot faster. But one of the things that I said, and I did say it a couple of times, was that I want to kill as many birds with one stone as possible. And so I'm going to, as I'm building out this service or this platform, I'm going to learn some of the core cloud infrastructure, specifically with Azure, for delivering this. And that was, I think, a smart move because
yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't.
architect over 5 different teams and making hella money and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good move from a tech standpoint, but if you're looking specifically on the context of what the entrepreneurs do and how they make it so long, long. They have short feedback cycles and they're constantly moving.
Yeah.
It's I think it's easier if you're getting feedback because you get excited about it and you're, going, but um I'm not saying I'd have the chops to do it. I'm not very good at talking to people.
But to your
But
point, so one, I'm on contract. Uh, I got 4 months left in my contract if it does go that duration. And so to that point, one option, right? If I really should treat this as a priority to get this out the door, right, and then I could feel a little bit better about my obituary, is is probably a good opportunity for me to register in the incubator. And I got crapped a demo, right? I have a slide deck that I wrote like a year ago. I have enough stuff that I'm pretty sure that there will be some confidence that I could see things out because it really is 90% done. It really is, right? And so I could go to one of the South Florida startup incubators. I think the turnoff for them would be the fact that I'm alone. Like I don't
the
have any
team, yeah,
partners, right? It's just me, and they're probably going to say, "Yo, you can't. It's not in our interest for you to work a 9 to 5, have the responsibilities that you have in regards to leadership over a whole bunch of people, and then have this conflict of interest of using our time, our mentoring,
yeah,
for this other. Like you got to pick or choose. I mean, that's what I would say if I was the advisor, right?
yeah, yeah. It makes sense.
But I don't. I'm older now. I'm attracting more stuff. I done made some acquisitions in regards to, like, I don't know, the way I live, and I'm not willing to, again, like, knock on wood, but like right now I'm not willing to accept less than 100,000 a year. Um, Knock on wood, right?
Yeah,
Like I don't want to make that sacrifice for a startup. I don't. Knock on wood, right? Because
yeah, yeah.
life
You'd
could
have,
happen, and there may be a point where I'm happy with 50,000 a year. I get it, but
yeah.
I,
I mean, not. There's a difference between not being willing to go below 100,000 and thinking you're above people who make less than 1,000. It's
uh,
100,000, but yeah, no. I mean, I get you're probably more in in cahoots to where I am now. Than, in that you've got all this other crap going on that you can't obligations and stuff that you can't really you can't just put down for to chase some sort of dream. I think if I had been at times in the past decade, if I had been single, it would have been a complete my what I would have done would be completely different because there's times where I've hit like, oh, I've got an idea, I want to chase this. Like if I had the amount of money I have, which I'd probably have more because I didn't have a family, my living situation would be a lot less expensive because I wouldn't have needs for vehicles and vacations, and I probably wouldn't need anything more than a small apartment because why? I don't need a giant house, you know. Not that my house is giant, but I don't need much of a house. That I would have probably just quit my job and gone off and chased whatever interest that I had, but that's not the cards that I set up for myself. So, and now you're probably in more of a similar situation. You get to it, you got obligations and responsibilities, and how do you juggle that with following running after a potential pipe dream?
And there's something else. You ready?
Go.
I've been binge watching a lot of videos over the past 2 weeks, and I think I'm going to start sprinkling some seeds. Let's get to the current. Let's get to the current like setting. All right, the current setting is this: the pandemic happened. A lot of Californians, a lot of New Yorkers moved to South Florida. The consequence of that, man, South Florida is like San Francisco in regards to living expenses. Like being from Cleveland and paying $800 a month to be in a middle class neighborhood that's safe and I could come home without my door being kicked in. Like no one bothers me. I moved down to Florida and I was paying like 1,400 for a one bedroom. Series of events happened. Okay, now I'm paying 2,500 for a two bedroom down here, which I would never thought. One, I would never thought I'd be able to afford. One, I never thought I'd be able to afford 1,400 for a single bedroom, right? Now I'm paying like what's 25 and 12. Well, I can't do the math off the top of my head. I thought it was what's 25 and 12. Hold up,
I don't know. Get your
I
calculator up,
can't do
man.
it. Yeah.
I can't do it in my head. Math got so much more interesting to me once you moved beyond multiplying and adding numbers.
So I pay $30,000 a year in rent, and that stuff is not like equity. That stuff is like I just hand over. Like it's not part of a mortgage. I don't own anything. I
Yeah.
literally give somebody $30,000 and have nothing else to show for it, but just month to month of
Yeah.
taking hot showers. I mean, I live okay, but like
Is that do you pay utilities too, or is that all inclusive?
I pay electricity. I don't really have. I told you that I ended up paying over the years like $8,000 worth of internet over like maybe 10 years, and I realized that that was actually included in my
Yeah.
rent. But no, it's electricity is the primary utility outside of the 2,500 that I pay. Um,
Yeah, I
if we're
mean,
talking about living expense, I mean, but I have a whole bunch of subscriptions. For example, to like YouTube, I pay like a monthly fee, um,
yeah, that's
stuff
different
like
than
that.
housing expense though. I'm saying I'm living, you know, two and a half, well, about 2.5 acres. I've got a 4 bedroom house, two baths or whatever, and what am I'm paying like 1,100 a month on a mortgage.
Uh,
So
well, I mean, I'm paying on a whip that I don't even drive. I'm paying $1,800 a month on the new car that I haven't drove that car in like 3 weeks.
yeah,
I don't drive it. It just sits there.
probably be more excited to drive it if it wasn't if the audio didn't hiss funny.
Yeah, yeah. I would be taking more joy rides.
Yeah,
Um, So anyway, so like my living expenses have ballooned, right? And the car is like, I'll own that one. Well, yo, these foreigners, and I'm a foreigner too, but these foreigners, they're coming in with their bank accounts, and they're like just, man, they're just people are like the reason why I got out my last crib, well, one of the reasons is because my landlord is like, oh, Scott, you got to go. I'm putting this up for sale. And there's so many property owners that were originally renting out their units that they're like, nah, there's a boom, there's a bubble. I'm going to take advantage of this bubble. I'm selling, right? So, like, there's a lot of people just like me that are like, you got to go. Unless you have, for one bedroom, maybe 300,000, for two bedroom, maybe like $600,000 or something to buy or to
Oh, they're
own.
changing it to condos from apartments to condos. Is that what
Well,
they're
I
doing?
live in a condo. I just rent it out from
Oh,
the
I see.
owner.
I see.
Yeah. And so like down here, like people owners are instead of them renting it out, they're just selling. And they're selling to these New Yorkers and Californians that just make way more money. Um and so dude, like I think that I think I'm just going to take the earning potential that I currently have. I think I'm just going to move to a third world country.
Oh, really? Completely off the different time zone, everything
Well, I think I'm going to rotate
like Canada, or
seasons. Nah, nah,
I'm
nah.
just I'm just
I'm,
I was joking about Canada being a third
I'm
world
talking
country.
about. I'm strongly considering Thailand.
Thailand. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of, aren't there? That's kind of like in one of these entrepreneurial moves where people do that, right? They cost of
Is
living's,
there?
yeah. It's I think it's Thailand, the one that a lot of them move to.
I'm strongly considering.
You can find podcast episodes about people who, basically they work remotely, they make whatever, and then they work in Thailand or whatever, where they can basically live for cheap.
Yeah, because I mean, for 2,500 a month that I'm paying here, man, I could probably live as a millionaire, like in Manila or Thailand or something. Again, I would probably have to do like maybe a 1 month or 2 month trial run. I have to have good internet.
Oh yeah,
Um, it's just I don't I don't believe I have to accept the terms and conditions to live in South Florida. I really don't think I have to accept the terms and conditions. This world is big.
yeah. Why not?
I have a really good resume and I can back it up. Um,
Yeah, if you don't have roots and you're working remote anyways, go where the hell you want. Why not?
yeah, so we'll see how far I get in this saga. I'm still in the research phase, but
Yeah, there's really not anywhere left in the U.S. that wouldn't have that problem that is warm. That would give you the same thing as Florida. I would guess because Texas is getting hit hard too. So there's a coast there, and then the Carolinas I think are getting hit as well.
I mean the other option is here's the thing, I'm claustrophobic. And so like I would entertain the idea of like Guam or US Virgin Islands. It's just occasionally I like to like go on road trips and get away. And I don't want to be even like well, I can't afford Hawaii. But like I don't want to be stuck on an island where like I'm stuck on an island and like there's only like a 1 hour drive or 2 hour drive either way. Like I don't want to be in that position. Not that every weekend I go on a road trip that's 5 hours away. It's just
You're looking too hard at the tropics, man. Where you need to go, Alaska.
I don't do
Perfect.
well. I don't do well with being cold.
Yeah, I don't think Alaska's that cold. I think the
I,
Midwest is colder. If you're on the Pacific, like against the Grand Forks, which is in North Dakota, is the coldest city in the United States, like larger city. Um, I
I
don't know what the
thought
average temperatures in like Anchorage or Seaward get to be.
I was under the impression that the closer, and it's weird because you never really hear about the South Pole, but I was under the impression that the closer you get to the North Pole, the colder it is. But it sounds like that's probably not true.
I think that there's other um, factors at play. I mean, it gets cold, but so like Anchorage right now is -2. Right where I am is -31.
But then the world is the planet is on an axis, right? Which is why
Seaward, Alaska,
Australia doesn't have a winter. Like they don't have snow. Australia.
yeah, Seaward, Alaska is 14 degrees right now. Um, like I said, I'm at -31. So
Hold up. It's negative 31 degrees
where I am, yeah, right now,
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit, yeah,
It's negative 31. You talking about wind chill?
oh, -31. At least according to weather, whatever,
I don't believe that.
or
Hold up.
Google. Oh,
What?
maybe it is negative, maybe it is wind chill, but looking at it now, because it says if you go to actualweather.com, it's like -1. If you just search Google, it says -31. So I don't know what the hell to believe now.
Oh, and then the other question
It was
is
-25 last night, is on average, but that must be a wind chill.
the other question is at the end of my contract, if I get that far, I should have enough to live on for probably a year. Do I do I take time off, do my sabbatical, and get this thing out the door? Do I continue making money? Do I take a month off and continue? You know, if my contract gets extended, take a month off, do my contract, or just keep going.
If you're happy with the job, I'd keep going on the contract. I mean, this is the first job that I haven't heard you complain about. I think since I met you. So if they extend it and you're not actually and
That's
you're
not
liking it,
true.
I would just do it.
I think I've had other jobs where I wasn't annoyed. No?
No, I don't know. It seems like everyone it was like, God damn it. You get into it, you're like, I don't like this place. They're not doing things right.
I
But
mean,
maybe that's because
that's
you've
it's
been
the
more of a
truth.
developer in the past and not so much of an architect role.
No, this spot, they're like I said, like you see this book right here? Hold up. Knock the dust off of it. You see this?
Hmm.
Like I heard of SAFe before or Scaled Agile Framework,
Yeah.
but I mean, I never contracting. I was never in a shop that actually like practiced it, and like I think they're the closest to the spirit of practicing agile that I have observed in the past 15 years. I mean, and like
Do you have your like,
everybody's senior. Like there's no everybody's senior, and it's very different because I'm used to just primarily working in shops, being held accountable for front end applications. This is all back end. This is all enterprise.
hmm,
So it's very different, but the developers are just very mature. Like there isn't a debate about automated tests. There's not. They understand that it's required. Almost every other job I've worked at, I would have these stupid, retarded, bleeding edge conversations about unit testing and integration testing. I would say integration testing, they're like, what do you mean? Like that's been like what I've had to deal with. And like at this particular shop right now, I mean, one is a Fortune 500 company, so I guess the expectations are different in regards to them having to answer to regulators and other
Mhm.
partners, right? So it's just a more mature organization, and they do hold themselves to a higher standard because they don't have a choice. It
Are you
is
guys
regulated.
so it's safe? Is it you doing like program increments and all that stuff,
Yeah, and
like
these
the
agile release
big
trains.
meetings and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, like my lifestyle's changed. I'm in one is I don't have a designated lunchtime. And I'm just in meetings. Like I probably average like 5 meetings a
Maybe I got to
day.
get into that gig, man. I want to be in more meetings. I still want to get down into code, but
I'll be your connect if you want me to refer you.
no, it's all right. But no, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. But I know that what I've come to just dislike right now is that there's a lot of waiting to figure out what we can work on next. And it's like I want something meaty to fricking go at. Like I'm hungry, and uh, it's like there's all these higher level conversations that I'm not in being had, and I feel like if it would be valuable to be in those kinds of meetings because then you can plan out now what tech you're going to need to support the features that you're going to have or the needs that you're going to have in months.
So
Um,
what
but like I don't know.
so what I do is I create all these design documents, like architectural design document, detailed architectural design document, project design document, and I first run it through a single team to collect their feedback before I start broadcasting it to a wider audience of stakeholders such as like product owners, scrum masters, and solutions architects, enterprise architects. So like my current methodology is the developers see it first before it gets promoted to higher level influencers that could alter the direction of of my current vision for accomplishing the roadmap.
Yeah,
So
and maybe that's the kind of thing that I would somewhat like. I don't want to do the like I want to design the thing, get buy-in, and then go do it. You know,
yeah,
but
that's not going to happen
yeah,
with in my situation because
yeah,
it's impossible to get pulled into all these different meetings and still build out a solution because half these meetings are I won't say half these meetings are one good thing is when a meeting's scheduled it's not scheduled the same day. Like I think there's an unspoken rule that if you schedule a meeting, then you need to schedule it at least a day in advance, right?
hmm
So that's cool, but like, yeah, I want to be hands on. I want to lead by example. I want to show everybody that I'm the best developer in any organization I go to. And like 3/4 of the time, I honestly believe that, regardless of if it's the truth or not. But I I don't have time to do that. And if I even start writing code, I'm not going to have time to finish it. I'm not. Uh, The, the amount of responsibilities that are put on me, it'll be borderline impractical or impossible to start development and actually finish something that is at least like 1 month worth of like man hours effort. It's not going to happen.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe for me, the idea is that there's wells in development. There's like hills. So like right now, I'm in a well. There's like we're not doing anything right now that's I would consider to be substantial. It's small. Everything's small. Small thought, small end goal. There's no, And then there's times where we're working on hills, right? We're working on the big thing. There's constantly work to do. You're quickly iterating. Your heads down, developing. I want to use those times in the well to get not be in the well, but I want to be in the meetings that lead to the hill so that I can just
Yeah.
be on top all the time. So meetings, meetings, meetings for weeks, weeks, weeks at a time. Work, 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 work for weeks at a time. Deliver meetings, meetings, meetings to the next thing,
So the
and be in
question
that kind of
is,
well or not wells.
would you ever entertain being an architect?
It depends on the type of
It's a
architect because
lifestyle
there's
change.
there's so many there's so many different.
An
There's
architect
so
at an
much
enterprise
different.
company, not a startup.
No, no, I don't think I'm ever going to work for an enterprise type company. I don't want to be a small like potato in a big world. I don't know.
Well,
I
I
feel
would
like you're,
argue, as
yeah,
an architect, you won't be a small potato. You're going to have high visibility. Your neck is going to get choked if something doesn't produce.
no, I don't. I just don't
But
want to
yeah,
work
it's a lot
around
of bureaucracy. Yeah,
bureaucracy. I hate bureaucracy so much. It's like I consider like half of it just waste. And maybe that's
even
because I want to be at the wells, at the top of the hills, and the bureaucracy is working while. And then when we get to the actual implementation, I'm sitting here going, well, why didn't you just bring us in the first place?
my
But
fantasy before I end my career is is to be a hands-on. I know it's impossible to be a hands-on architect, but
it's not.
my when I drop this one, it is my fantasy. The way I would like to close out my career is I would like to participate as an architect on an aerospace project. That's how I would like to close out my career, right? What is it, the Archimedes project? I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. For going back to the moon, or working on a project to revisit, Venus or something. Like I want to work on those type of like problems. As you know, I had to rely on a calculator to do multiplication of 2,500 times 12 times 12. So I probably won't get past the interview in regards to like
No,
aerospace.
that's not true, man. So yeah, doing something that using your mind to do something that a computer can do is a waste of your mind, I think. Um, but being able to multiply and stuff, that's a very concrete thing. It's not a if you can deal with abstraction, that's a totally different story. And there's a lot of people who can't deal with abstraction who can deal with concrete number crunching very well. Like I said, that's the turning point for math for me is when you get into algebra versus getting into being just doing like multiplication tables. Third grade I was the worst at math. Like because I was the slowest person in doing multiplication tables and adding.
There's still
As soon
some
as you get
numbers
into
that I struggle with.
abstractions and looking at patterns and applying patterns, it's a totally different kind of math, and that's what
There-
computation is. It's patterns and knowing when to apply patterns.
There's still some there's still some numbers that I forget. Like for example, what's 6 times 7?
I don't know,
So like, is it 42? Okay, 7 times 7 is
53?
49.
No,
6 times 7 is
54,
42. It's 42.
42. I don't
But
know.
like, I literally had to think about it for 30 seconds before I asked you because
I don't even know.
I don't see that number enough.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
either. But I have the same problem. The only reason I remember eight is because I can do a little rhyme with it.
uh,
Like 8 times 8, open the door is 64.
so so there's some numbers like single digit
Six times
numbers that when I
nine.
multiply, I literally can't remember, and I have to like go one number above or below and then add it to get the
Yep.
answer.
Yeah, it's got the same problem.
Yeah,
I don't
seven is
do math in
six.
my head. I was so lucky once. My in school once I was a teacher went around and was trying to do multiple or was trying to do like something to a power, and I got to be the first number, so I got the easiest. Like, what's one to the second power?
Oh,
It's like,
I could go to
oh yeah,
8,192.
yeah.
So
But I
one,
don't know, man. I can't. The guy at the end was just like, oh, and he rattled it off. I'm like, geez,
yeah, that's one of my
I don't know.
favorite. I could 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 156, 512, 1,024, 2,048, 4,096, 8,192, 16,284, 32,468, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of my favorites.
powers of two. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I know exactly what you mean. I don't see those numbers enough, but that's not what you do in math. You're not a calculator. It's not what you do in computer science. You're looking for a pattern that matches a tool and you're applying the tool. That's all you're doing. Getting knowledge and then codifying it too. That's another way to say it, but I don't
So, your thoughts on me uh, considering rejecting the terms and conditions of living in Miami and taking good wages and living it up in a third world impoverished nation. Do you think it's doable?
know.
Do you think it's harder than what it is in regards to logistics and bureaucracy and
I don't.
transition and
I think there's a lot of, like I said, I think there's a lot of people that move to Thailand or um, it
Americans?
might be, yeah, there might, it's Thailand or it was one of the other like Indonesian type,
Philippines,
Philippines might be it. I don't know. It's something over there. There's a lot of people that make that move that are expats or whatever that do it because of that exact thing. Like I said, I've heard at least 3 or 4 podcasts where people talk about doing that exact thing. Um, there's some islands in South America too, not South America, but like islands outside where some people are
Trinidad,
moving to.
Aruba, San Andreas.
Yeah, I don't I
I've
don't
been
I
to
don't know.
Aruba. I've been to Trinidad. Aruba is colonized by the Dutch. I don't know. I would assume Trinidad has the port of Spain, so I would assume it's colonized by Spain. I don't know. It's been a
Yeah,
while since I've been away
but still,
because COVID makes it so complicated to go anywhere. I was thinking about going to Jamaica this weekend. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to deal with. Am I going to get on a plane? I don't know because I got to do COVID testing. Well, how long does that take? Hopefully, if I'm at the airport, it takes $30. But if I do the test at the airport and it's $30, how much do I have to spend? Like $100 just for a test? And then like there's hella cancellations. Like I don't want to buy a ticket and then it gets canceled.
yeah, yeah,
Things are too complicated.
we're scheduled to go to Disney World in May, and I'm
Oh
just
shoot,
dreading it.
we could finally meet.
Yeah, I I actually told my wife, I'm like, hey, would you mind if I just drove down to Miami or something? She's like, I'd kill you.
No, I
She's
would
like,
make the trip to Orlando. I was in Orlando like 4 months ago. I was visiting some people that came down. They drove down from Cleveland.
cool. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'll let you know when the time gets closer. But I'm dreading it because I think that like either flights are gonna change or they're gonna change the rules, and I don't know.
You already purchased your ticket?
Well, my wife, like, it's a whole family thing, so it's like my wife and
Why
my
y'all do it so far
brother-in-law
in
and
advance? Oh, okay.
my sister and brother-in-law and my stepmom, and it's like
So so more than you guys are doing Airbnb?
I guess so.
Because I
Yeah,
told you,
I'm
I
like
told
I'm
you,
not planning any of this.
I told you when I went up there, the folks
Yeah,
that I visited, they have gated communities of Airbnb
yeah,
in
that's
Orlando,
basically what we're doing, I think.
and I think I told you, it was like I think it was like 12 of them, and they rented a a van, like a 15-seater van, and they just drove it all the way down. And instead of them like going to restaurants, I mean, they have some money, right?
Yeah,
They had
yeah, there's some
caterers come over to the house and just cook brunch, and that's how they got down. Like they had caterers every day, or at least on the every day or every other day, come and just prepare their food. And they said it was a lot easier um, compared to logistics of trying to get to a restaurant and the complications of trying to, reservations and trying to get everybody ready. Instead, they just had the chefs come to them. So I thought that was
yeah,
pretty smart.
yeah. I don't think we'll be doing that, but we'll probably go to Walmart and just stock up on a bunch of normal items and stock the fridge and then just make food there. Um, but yeah, like I said, I'm not looking forward to it. I don't like amusement parks. I like the rides, but I don't like waiting in lines. I don't like all the people around as kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like just horrible.
when they went to Disney World, I decided to like go to the zoo. I didn't know zoo had like social classes. I didn't know there were different classes of zoos. Did you?
uh, I mean, there's different. I guess I don't know what you mean.
I
Like,
went to a zoo that was hood, and I didn't know that zoos could be hood. Like in regards to like the demographic of people. Uh, and
okay,
so like it was a flag because I'm assuming like they were charging this zoo. It was like uh, it was 17. I think it was $17 for the both of us, like me and my chick. And I'm like, $17 for both of us? God damn, I paid $50 just for one ticket at the Miami Zoo. Oh man, this is a steal, right? And I realized that the Miami Zoo is way more quality in regards to like how clean it is, the landscaping, the enclosures. And I went to Sanford Zoo when I was in Orlando visiting
hmm
my friends, and when they were doing their thing, I was doing my thing. And that zoo was like it was 1 star. And so that's what I mean. Like I didn't like even the people there, they were all tatted up. They looked like gangsters. Like it was just different. And so that's what I mean. Like I didn't know there were different classes of zoos. So I thought they were all state owned, and I guess not.
looking at the pictures, it doesn't look that bad.
It, go there. I mean, you're safe. It's just
Oh, maybe I'm looking at. Oh,
go
this is the
to.
botanical
I mean, I
gardens.
never been to like the San Diego Zoo, but go to a zoo that like you heard of, like maybe San Diego Zoo or the Miami Zoo or something like that, and then go to the Stanford Zoo, and you'll see a huge difference.
We have a zoo south of here where it's like it's not. It's probably close to what you described, but it's in central Minnesota. It's not. They have like a lot of animals, and it's a great zoo.
You should go
Um,
to the Tiger King sanctuary or the Wildcat sanctuary.
go to Carol Baskin's place where
Yeah,
they find the body and make the news.
that's funny.
All
All right,
right.
well, it's been real. TGIF. Let me get this day over with.
Alrighty, cool.
All right, Sean.
You have a good one.
Sayonara. Bye. See ya, Gamlor, the only observer. Peace.